Welcome back. As has been requested, we're doing another live optimization session. And what the real purpose here is, for some greater context, I've only seen this account in the last 10 minutes, and Alex only got access to this account about 2 hours ago. So the reason why we're doing it this way is we really want to give you a behind the scenes look of the process that we go through, that when we're looking at an account to really start pulling out some different areas. And we're looking at two things. Firstly, we go through the process of trying to find what are the easy wins so we can start to get some better results as fast as possible, but then also looking at to what are some structural changes that we would need to make in the account in order to take it to those next levels of profit. And what I want to do is I want to introduce Alex. Alex has been with me for over 12 months now, and he specializes in the area of e-commerce. So because we're dealing with an e-commerce account, that's why I brought Alex in. So Alex, I'll hand it over to you. If you can just firstly give us a bit of a rundown of this brand, and then we'll jump straight into the Google Ads account.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Thank you for having me. So this brand is a very nice one. They are selling furniture for parents to be able to accommodate, change the babies, have them lunch, all these things. It's a brand that is based in Australia. They are not dropshipping, which is important because I know that many e-com people watching the videos are dropshippers. This one is not a dropshipping one. They are shipping from Australia to Australian customers. So they are running a search and shopping campaign, and they ask us for some advices about their account, how we could improve it.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, if you share your screen, let's start going through the process that we take people through.
So one of the first things we are doing when we are onboarding an ad account, whether it's to start working on that or more probably at the beginning to audit, is that I'm looking at the conversions because I want to be sure that all the conversions are set up properly. And for an e-com, what is important is to have the purchase tag that is there. It's here. We see 5 conversions over the past 3 months. I'm not going to the details to be sure that if it's really accurate and properly set up. I see there is a tag and I will assume that it's correctly set up. Then there is another one that is the add to cart. And the add to cart here is set as primary conversion. And that's a little bit problematic to me because when we are going to optimize for conversions, Google will optimize for the sum of purchases and add to cart. In this instance, when we're looking at the results for the past 3 months, Google will not tell us that we had 5 conversions. It will tell us that we have 76 conversions. And as every e-com owner knows, the only thing that really is important is the purchase. It's not the add to cart. The add to cart is what I call an intermediate KPI. That's just something that you have a look at it to be sure that if you didn't get sales, did you at least get any add to cart? So this one should be on secondary conversions like here. If you want to keep it on primary for some reasons, just be sure that your campaign has a setup to optimize for purchases because that's something you have to select at the settings of the campaign. So we have this one. We keep on looking, beginning checkout. All the other things are okay. Nothing to be concerned. So that would be the first thing.
Yeah, and I agree with that because for me, I know there's some people who think that if you add in the add to cart, that it's going to trigger the conversions, which will then help people ultimately buy. My view on it is, as our view on it, is that you shouldn't be adding in your add to cart as a primary conversion, because if we're getting a lot of add to carts and no conversions, that's letting us know that the problem may not even lie in Google Ads. It could be something to do with their landing page, with their shopping cart. So I keep getting questions about this. People will sort of say, oh, but if you add in the add to cart, it'll help get more conversions. That's just a false statement, because what you're actually missing is you're actually missing the reason for why they're adding to cart and why they're not purchasing. And 9 times out of 10, what we find, that's got nothing to do with Google Ads. It's got probably something to do with usability of their site, pricing and policies, just the way that the cart functions. So yeah, that would be first recommendation that we would make.
Completely agree. Then the second thing that I'm checking the most immediately when I'm looking at an ad account is the recommendation tabs. But more importantly, this one doesn't have a lot. Sometimes you have more recommendations and you just look at what they are saying, if it's interesting or not. I'm looking at the auto apply. And the auto apply, if you had any call from Google reps, one of the first things they're going to tell you is check everything and have auto apply for everything. Yeah. And if you are following Aaron's videos, you will see that we completely disagree with that. You should not have auto apply for everything. In this one, there are some sections where we have the auto apply. This one, is not a problem. It's just optimization of the ad rotation, no issue. Removing non-serving keywords, no issue for this one. Use optimized targeting. This one is more an issue for me. I checked the ad account. It did not have an impact so far, but what it can do is that if the account is getting, or any campaign is getting enough conversions and the campaign is set with a specific bidding strategy, it may change the bidding strategy to a different one. And if you are not aware of that, or if you're receiving an emails because they will just tell you by email, hey, we are doing these things, and you may get busy, will not take care, will not have a look at that, then it will change the bidding strategy and your ad account is completely changed. And that's really, that's a big no for us. Upgrading the conversion tracking, that's okay. Then we have below all the other ones, it's not checked, removed. So that's great.
All right, now let's jump into the actual campaign structure. So I think you mentioned before, they've got some shopping campaigns and search campaigns. Are you having problems with your Google Ads campaigns, and regardless of what you try, you just can't get the conversions that your business needs? Thank you for joining us on this live Google Ads optimization session. But what I do want to let you know that if that is you and you cannot get your Google Ads campaigns to give you the conversions that your business needs, I want to let you know about our Defined Digital Academy, done for you or done with you Google Ads management solutions. So whether you're a business owner and you want us to look after your Google Ads account so that you can do what you do best in your business, we've got an option for you. Or if you're a business owner who wants to stop paying Google Ads management fees, but you need some expert advice in not only how to set up your campaign, but also optimize your campaign on a weekly basis. And the way that we do this is that we can coach you through the process so that you can optimize your Google Ads campaigns in under 1 hour a week. But if you want to find out about either of these options, follow that link in the description below so that you can apply. And I do want to let you know that for both of these options, due to the high demand, we only take on a limited number of accounts. So apply today so that you don't miss out on your opportunity. With all of that said, let's jump right back into the live Google Ads training optimization session.
Absolutely. So we have one search campaign and we have 2, 4, 6 shopping campaigns. So I will start with the search one because there is only one. When we are going there, what is important is the naming convention, so you can quickly know what is inside. There is nothing worse than going into an ad account and having ad group 1, ad group 2, ad group 3, and just don't know. In this case, this is nicely done. We know what should be in there, so it should be easy for us. And when we are here, so we have change baskets. That means that this ad group is targeting everything around the change basket theme. And what we have here is that we have different keywords. And the problem is that they are not always around the theme that it should be. Like nursery accessories, it should not be there because that's more broad, that's more generic. It should be in a dedicated ad group because nursery accessories can be anything that you need in a baby room, not specifically the change basket. I have these other keywords that is even more problematic because this keyword is the brand. And the good thing is that there is the brand keyword, so that's great. The bad thing is that it should be into a dedicated campaign because the conversions is going to be way higher on that, which makes sense. People are looking for your brand, so they are already aware of your brand, of the product that you are selling. So probably if they're looking for that, they want to come and probably finish the purchase. So it should be into a dedicated campaign where you're going to have a dedicated budget. It would be easier for you. And you will have also a dedicated bidding strategy. If you let it here, you are just going to have all the conversions coming from your brand into these change basket ad groups. You may think that the ad group is doing okay, but actually it's not doing that great because when we are looking at the metrics here, conversions, they are coming here mostly from the Raja Homewares, which is the name of the brand.
The other thing, sorry if I just jump in here, the other thing that I look at there is when I look at the actual, so there's things you picked up. Obviously, they've got the brand in there, which is you need to have that in a separate campaign, as you said, so we can control the budget. Second thing is they've actually got more than one theme in there. So, the ad group should all be about change baskets. They've got nursery accessories. The other thing that I would say in there as well is there's too many broad match keywords and the broad match is too short. So this would need a full restructure. What I'd be looking at is the keyword down the bottom, rat and baby change table. For me, that would be my lead off broad match keyword because it's 4 words in it. It's giving Google a really clear idea on what we're wanting, because for this this brand, we wouldn't just want change table. We would want the words Rattan in there. And then everything else should be exact match from there.
Absolutely.
Potentially Moses changing basket, if there was data around that, that could potentially work as a broad, but I would probably would have to have a deeper dive. That's replicated on their website. May even want to go into a different ad group. So that would be the other thing I'd look at. The other thing I'd be pointing out too, and I'm sure you'll take us through this, is that those click-through ratios are too low. Apart from branded and Rattan Baby change table, all of those other keywords, which points to the ad copy.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. We need to have into the ad group some exact keywords just to be able to give more like data sources or insights to Google what we are really focusing on. The exact one is really the high intent, someone that is really looking for that. And the broad one, especially when we can do a long tail. So like Aaron explained, with multiple keywords, then we can have some keywords that are relevant and will be cheaper. And that could be interesting for your conversions.
I was just going to say there too, the benefit of having more exact match keywords as well as two benefits. One, if you're using dynamic keyword insertion, it's going to be more relevant and more intent that they're going to get a really close triggering. The secondary thing is for the product, especially with an e-commerce brand, with exact match, we know that we're going to get data on that. So even if it's got low search volume, it's not going to be thrown into the other search terms. And sometimes now people are getting 50% of their search terms in the other search terms. So you're not getting the data on it. We can see it now at a keyword level. That's going to also give us better indication to how we should be structuring our product titles for any shopping campaigns.
That's fair. So we've seen that we had this brand name here. We've seen that here we have a keyword changing table, which is not a change basket because there is an ad group for that. And the impact we can see immediately is that it has a low quality score because the ad is not matching the keyword, which is not matching the landing page. So poor quality score. And on top of that, I'm sure that if we go to the ad group of the changing table, we are going to find the same keyword. So meaning there's going to be an internal competition, which is not healthy for that account. Another thing that I'm looking at is, the CTR. So the CTR is not very high, but you can have some insights to that, is that when you're going to competitive metrics, you look at your impression share and at your top impression share, we can know how often we are on top of the page. And when we're looking here at the keywords, basically we are displayed less than 10% of the time. And on top of the page, so one of the top 4 position on Google Ads, it's also less than 10% of the time, meaning most of the time, it's more at the bottom of the page. If you are in some countries, now we have infinite scroll on the page. So you're just scrolling and the page is going to be displayed. But even with infinite scroll, we are still going to have the metric of top impression share. So really the top position. And that's not the case. So that's why we have a low CTR, which makes sense.
Yeah. Great. Can you just jump into the ads as well so we can have a look at that ad structure?
So for the ad, we have 2 ads. One had 6.7%, the other one had 7.5%. One thing we can say is that the final URL where he's sending his customers to is the homepage. And if people are looking for the change basket, what would make sense is to send people directly to the collection page of the change baskets, not the homepage. That's an easy way to waste your money and to lose your customers, is that when you're sending them to the non-relevant landing page. And it's also hurting your quality score because Google is going to look at the page, analyze, and see if that page is relevant to the query. And then a homepage is rarely relevant to a query. So we have that. Then we have many headlines, which is okay. We have dynamic keyword insertion that is here. I don't see anything specific. We can add images, which is good. So be sure to add images that, again, is relevant to the ad group or to the product you are focusing on. That might be the case. Business logo is okay, and then have a site link.
The other thing I just mentioned with the headlines is the fact that they're using dynamic keyword insertion. Even if that's not pinned, with the dynamic keyword insertion, you don't then need to have any other keyword focused headlines. As long as your keyword structure is right, that's what the DKO does for you. The one thing that I would be looking at in through there is, for me, when I look at those headlines, especially if you're a starting e-commerce brand or a smaller e-commerce brand, which this one is, you want to be really pulling out some unique selling points, because it's quite likely that there's going to be 2 things in play. One, you're not going to be the cheapest. And even if you are the cheapest, you're not going to have the same level of spend as the large mega sites. So things like, they've written 5-star Google review, that's really weak. When I mean that's really weak, like that's a good selling point, but it's something that can be easily replicated because other business can get that. So what I would say with those headlines, what they're wasting as well is their unique selling point of their brand. So things that in the e-commerce space that I work with brands is looking at what can you say that no one else can say, and we would have to get into with this brand and really try to drill that down. That's one of the things that I look to put in my headlines, is really uncovering the brand, because we know that this is becoming more and more powerful. Small e-commerce brands that are surviving have a really strong brand story. And so that needs to be replicated in your ad copy.
Absolutely. And one thing also that can be done is that when you have your USPs, is that you can create one ad with your different headlines, and you can have also your descriptions, and then you create another one where you can reuse the same one. However, you're going to pin some of your USPs at the position that you are really aiming for, so that this USP is going to be on position 1 or position 2 or position 3. Have also in mind that sometimes there is no position 3 because it's on mobile. So sometimes Google is just displaying the first and the second one. So the third one, it's not always going to be displayed. But that's a good way to test the ads also, is to compare one where you let Google completely manage everything, and one where you are helping say, hey, this one is going to be first.
At this level of the review, when it comes to ad copy, this is one of those things where we go, if we were to present these findings to the client, we wouldn't have any answers. What we would highlight is that we need to do greater ad copy testing, because that then is going to take some time for either the brand or us to work with some copywriters to really come up with some unique headlines. But so the first thing in the search campaigns we're looking at, we need to reorganize the keyword structure, get a tighter keyword structure, add in more exact match keywords, really finalize those themes, and then also stronger brand story or unique selling point messages in their ad copy. And then also the landing page, make sure it's going to the most relevant page.
And don't worry, you don't have to fill all the fields that are here. Even though Google is going to tell you that it's not excellent, it's just medium or average, you don't have to fill everything. You need to have some selling points. You have to have some headlines. If you can come up just with half of them, it's better to put half of them than put a lot of different fields that are just average.
Yeah, and it's important to note with that ad strength as well, is that once you start getting a click-through ratio and keyword quality scores, the ad relevance is not really relevant. Because even for Google as well, especially with search, click-through ratio becomes the most important metric, because
Absolutely.
Once we start getting a high click-through ratio, you need to have your keyword relevance. But from data we've tested, once your keyword scores above 5 out of 10, click-through ratio is the most important thing to focus on.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go now and have a look at the shopping campaign. So there was about 4 or 5 of them from memory.
Yeah, even 6, I think.
Okay.
So for this one, what I could see here is that first, we have many campaigns for a shopping. And I'm not sure that it's really necessary to have that many campaigns, because remember, we also want to be able to get as many conversions under one campaign. So at some point, you can start kicking with a smart bidding strategy like a target CPA or target ROAS. And so if you are fragmenting your ad account with a lot of different campaigns, it will be harder for you to be able to use these smart bidding strategies. And especially with e-com, there is really a big difference when you start using a target ROAS as a smart bidding strategy, because it's way easier for you then to be able to get results, because Google has a lot of data that they are using to be able to bring the good customers to your website. So a little bit too many campaigns here, what I could say. It could be when we are looking, and we will go through the website of the client, is that usually you have some universe, some like main categories on the website. So for this website, there is another universe where we can have everything. And I know, just let me show you very quickly here.
While you're pulling that up and showing that, just to probably greater clarity, the way that we look at it when it comes to multiple campaigns is to be really forward with the client. The way that I would usually explain this is the ultimate goal would be to have one campaign, and then you've got to come up with valid reasons for having separate campaigns. And those valid reasons go down to separate reasons. One, if there's a really big difference in the profit margin. So if you've got some products, $100 per unit sold, and then if you've got other ranges of products and in different product categories that have $20, it makes sense to break them out. Or if you need to do it by location, or if you're not your own products and you've got different distributors and it makes sense to break it out like that. They're really the reasons for it. But with a small small e-commerce brand that they own all of the brand, yeah, I agree with you that they generally will break out too many campaigns too quickly and you're losing some data. So it's really the thing that I want people to understand here is the goal is to have one campaign and then you've got to basically justify valid reasons for more than one campaign.
Yeah, and we remember that the budget is set at the campaign level.
Yeah.
So that's also one thing, is that if we want to allocate more budget to some specific category of products, but that's coming afterwards. That's not something you're doing ahead of time. You are data driven. So you're looking at your metrics. And if something is telling you, hey, I have a winner, something is really crushing and we need to spend more there, one of the only ways is to move out to a different campaigns, but don't start with too many like we have here. And most of the time too is that you can mimic also the architecture that you've done on your website, because usually you spend time thinking about, okay, I have my main categories, my subcategories, and this is what this client did here. There is the moms universe with the chairs, lighting, softies, storage, all these things. Then there is the kids universe, and then we have the baby universe. We could have potentially 3 campaigns with different ad groups that would be there. That one option.
Can you just show that screen that you're talking about with their website?
Oh, sorry, yes. Sorry, yes. So we have here the website, and we have like the mums, like that's a shop also. We have the mums universe, chairs, lighting, softies, storage. We have the kids, beds, chairs, handmark, and then we have the babies. And there is also bundles, but I would not go with the bundles on the Google Shop.
If they wanted multiple campaigns, you could potentially go, there's your, I mean, you could even put kids and babies together, but there's your campaign and your ad group structure based off your website.
Yeah, based on the website. And like you said, we can even merge kids and babies. The only thing we want to be sure is that we have products that are more or less the same price, or at least we don't have one product that is $50 and another one that is $700, because then it's not the same behavior. People will not come and buy right away. So that's the only difference, like you just explained before. Other than that, if yes, that's the same thing, the same margin for you, just have one campaign and different ad groups there.
Can you jump back into the Google Ads screen that we're on before? Because there's one other thing that I just wanted to look at there is, and straight away my eyes go to so search impression share. Even on a small budget, they're up at 46%. I'm just looking at the top campaign. Their search absolute top is below 10%, and their search rank lost is 33%. So the main thing I'm looking at there is I'd be diving straight into their product titles and having a look at their product title structure, and is that matching the search term? Because that rank is, now the rank could be coming from other areas, but that would be the first thing I'd be looking at, is their product title structure as well.
Yeah, because remember, when you're doing Google Shopping, you cannot insert positive keywords. You can just add negative keywords. So what is going to drive the keywords when you're going to be displayed is the name of the product and is the descriptions. And the keywords you want to be shown for should be at the beginning of your product's name. Same thing for the description, should be at the beginning of your descriptions. Then it's just up to you to be able to have either on Shopify, it's easy. You can have a front end name of the product, so people will see that. And then you use an SEO product name where you're going kind of stuff the keyword, even though it's not stuff because it's still showing up on Google Ads. So that's how you have to optimize your product, is product name, descriptions, eventually the keywords in the link of the product. These kind of things are signals again to Google to say, hey, this product might be relevant to the search of this user.
Since the introduction of a lot more automation, especially around Performance Max and those things, I've found that this has probably been one of the forgotten areas and one of the best opportunities. We've done a lot of testing where we've taken product categories, updated their product titles, and done a keyword. So the way, just to explain, because we won't have time to take people through this, is what you want to do is you want to go and do a search terms. So do a search term search in the shopping campaign and look to see what are the users actually searching for. And then, as you said, have that product. You want to get the right mix between what the product name is, but does that match the keyword? Get that in the first part, then have your branding, and then have your product modifiers. And we've seen product categories turn around in performance very, very quickly with increased clicks and impressions and then follow-up sales just by focusing on the product title. So it's for me, it's actually a really big opportunity at the moment because a lot of people have dropped the ball on their product feed optimizations.
Yeah, that's one of the first way to be able to optimize. The other way is, of course, the landing page, to also have some of the keywords of the landing page and then wait that it will come. It may take some days, it may take some weeks. It depends, but at some point it's going to pay off. You mentioned the search terms. So one of the things that I love about the regular shopping campaign compared to a PMax with a feed only is that I have here a search terms, what really people are looking for. And when I have this one, what I'm looking is, do we have keywords that are not relevant for the product group, so the product that we are advertising? And I'm looking at here, say, okay, but this one is okay, this one is okay, okay. So there is nothing like really stands out that is non-relevant. So I'm looking at that. However, still, when I'm looking at the clicks impression and especially the CTR, you can assume that a 0.16% is a low CTR for shopping. For shopping, you should be aiming at something between 0.40 to 1%, maybe. Nor 0.16, it's low. So meaning that bassinet might be a too low intent for the product because they are seeing the product. So they already see the price, and it might be non-relevant. And if that's the case, I would at some point exclude this product because it's also penalizing you with the bids, because Google is displaying you a lot of time. Google sees that you don't have a lot of clicks. And remember, Google is paid based on the clicks. So if you are wasting the impressions with very few clicks, you're going to pay higher and higher, and Google is going to start showing someone else that is more relevant for people.
Because they've only got a certain amount of spaces to show. And if your ad's not getting
exactly
clicked and your competitor's getting clicked, they're going to be showing the competitor's ad.
Absolutely. Or maybe you're going to have more products that are going to be shown if you have a lot of clicks. Instead of having 2 products to be shown, maybe you're going to have 3 or you're going to have 4. The key thing is that it's not because you have very few clicks and it's not costing you money that Google is not going to penalize. Google see there is a waste of impressions, a waste of inventory for them, so they're going to penalize you at some point.
All right, so where we've looked at it so far is the big things obviously in the search campaign. They needed to work through their keyword themes, tighten up those themes, tighten up, add in some more exact match keywords, tell the brand story and unique selling points in their ad copy. The shopping campaign, reduce the number of campaigns, also work on their product titles.
One thing I wanted to add, just I didn't show, I should have shown that earlier, is that when we are doing ad groups on the shopping campaign, we just want to be sure that we are advertising or we are showing for the good products. So, because sometimes I'm saying that we have an ad group and that it's for all the products. And sometimes you have 2 or 3 ad groups and that's almost the same products, or this is all the products. So I'm just checking the segmentation that if it's okay. And indeed here there are only 2 products that are advertised. So that's okay. That's part of the thing I'm looking. Sometimes people, they just like overlap between ad groups or even campaigns.
No, that's great. Just before we got on air, you mentioned something about, because of their price point, you would probably want to introduce another, like a third type of campaign. Can you just talk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to the client's website and I looked at the product that they are selling, let's say this one, the rattan bassinet, the one thing that I saw immediately is that, okay, that's $525. That's not like the kind of product people would buy in the morning on Amazon. That's something that requires some reflections. The couple are going to talk together most of the time, meaning that it's not a straightforward intent. One thing that was missing in this ad account is the remarketing. So people can find you and then you can be reminded to them all over the course, because maybe the purchase cycle is going to be a few days, maybe it's going to be a week, 2 weeks, or a month, probably not longer because that's a baby and we know baby are growing. So that's going to be
not going to be longer than 9 months, we can say that.
That's not going to be longer than that, but still it can take some time to take a decision and we need to be reminded. So that's one type of campaign that I would do, is to introduce a display remarketing campaign where people would have that. And I would even do, if you are advertising on Facebook, to have a remarketing on Facebook where you would be able to show some videos or some text there, because you can have a pixel as well. And that would be really helpful for a campaign because again, you're not selling an iPhone or you're not selling the iPhone 16 where people will wake up and buy immediately. In its reflection, they're going to look for a crib, then a rattan crib, then they will have different sellers, then they will shortlist the sellers, and then they will choose you. But they need to remember that you were one of those that were shortlisted, because sometimes you just forget, say, hey, I've seen this website, I just don't remember. And because you are displayed just 10% of the time on Google with your search and your shopping, this is what we've seen, chances are that you are not going to be shown up again.
Especially as well when we talked about with the search campaign, the display campaign is a great way to really reinforce, once again, your brand message, your unique selling points. And also as well, the great thing with the imagery imagery is as well is that they may see your ad 3 or 4 times on the display network before they click on it. You're getting those other visions. You're not paying for them until they get the click, but that's where it'll be a longer acquisition window. But that's one of those strategies that we'd be flagging to go, look, there's some things that we need to fix up now, but this is going to be our longer term strategy.
And this
All
is
right.
not very complicated to do because I'm not a
No.
developer, I'm not a graphist. I can do that. It's just taking pictures from the feed that they have on the Merchant Center. And then you will create a banner, you add your text, you add your unique selling point, the call to action, and then it's going to use that and it's going automatically to display the products that people have seen.
Much easier than what it used to have to be, where you had to upload like 10 different versions of the same ad. So, hey, Alex, that's great. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your input. So just as a summary for everyone, where we've gone through search campaigns, let's really tidy up the keyword structure. Only have that one longer tail intent broad match keyword. Make sure you've got all single themes in your ad groups and then build out your exact match keywords, especially for e-commerce brands. Really don't waste the opportunity to sell your unique selling points and your brand story in your search ads. Remember, what can we say that none of our other brands can say so that you're really sticking out? Shopping campaigns, especially when you're starting off, don't think like you've got to have multiple campaigns. Less is more, and really have really specific reasons for having more campaigns. So for this one, if we didn't want to go with one, we could definitely go with 2 or 3 campaigns, and then the remarketing, especially because it's a higher price. Thanks, Alex. As always, amazing insight, and we'll send this off to the client.
Thank you.